Welcome back to Today of All Days, Episode 7. And today, it's Jazz Day.
Today is Saturday, May 27th, 2017. And today, we're starting out right. We are starting with Julia Pierpont Day.
Oh, what a woman.
Oh, what a woman indeed, sir.
Oh, tell me all about it.
Well, Julia Pierpont is the originator of what became known as Decoration Day back in 1866. After the Civil War in Virginia, in the governor's mansion, she looked at the graves of the Union soldiers and she said to herself, you know, they could be spruced up a bit. So she took it upon herself to have a decoration day where she went down and she decorated the graves and paid homage to the troops that had fallen during the Civil War. It just struck the townsfolk, and so they began to follow suit. They started bringing their own decorations, and then before you know it, parades were happening, and then came the day where Memorial Day was declared in order to take all of these, offhand celebrations that were happening and put them on one day.
Oh.
But West Virginia, about 10 years ago, decided, you know what, we're going to pay tribute to Julia because she was the first one who took initiative. And so we have
Very
Julia
nice.
Pierpont Day.
Julia Pierpont Day, and then after that,
We remember you!
Memorial Day. Alright, next up we have International Jazz Day.
Jazz Day.
Jazz is very, very dear to my heart. Whenever I just need a relaxing time, a nice relaxing day, I love to turn on some jazz, but jazz has become more of a worldwide sensation to where now you end up having massive, massive get-togethers. And so we wanted to go over the top 3 festivals, jazz festivals, that you can go to. The first one is the Copenhagen Jazz Festival.
Which, don't get confused, it comes in at number 3 on our list.
Yes, number 3. Now, it making it to the top 3 still means that it is massive. So don't think, oh, it's in the last place. No, still a big festival. It has been in Denmark since 1979. It's a 10-day festival.
Whoa.
Can you imagine that? Jazz for 10 days.
I know.
Man, I'd be scatting the whole way home.
It's a haven.
It'd be ridiculous. Number 2. You have the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. Now, that's been running since 1980, but that one lasts for 7 days, but it has 12 stages of music, of jazz, blues, bluegrass, R&B, and Cajun music. That one draws in a massive 650,000 people every festival. So, quite a big one. And then coming in on number 1, that would be...
Or should I say...
Montreal International Jazz Festival. Now, that one started in 1980, and the venues pretty much spread over the entire city. They had to shut down the center of the city just to allow for only pedestrians. This draws in 2 million people yearly. Man, that is a massive amount of people.
And actually, that's just an average. One of the past years drew 2.5 million. And there's 3,000 artists that play all throughout the city.
That's too much, man. I don't know if I could deal with that, but I would love to. It's one of those things. It's like bungee jumping or skydiving. It's like, I don't know if I would do it twice, but I would do it the once, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Especially if you're a jazz enthusiast, just get immersed in it for 10 days. If there's a million people...
I know, I can't even imagine it. It would probably make you feel so small, yet so together at the same time.
I am one with my jazz scat.
What do we got next, Maria?
Next is Sellotape Day.
Sellotape.
Sellotape. Well, here in the States we call it Scotch tape.
Scotch tape? Very nice.
Now, the creator, Richard Gurley Drew, invented the cellophane tape in 1929. Now, you, I believe, actually have a fascinating story about why it's called Scotch tape in the US, correct?
Yeah. Originally, there were people that were working on cars and they were painting and everything, and they found that it was a little bit difficult to deal with the paint and not getting it on other stuff. And so he created a masking tape, pretty much, like painter's tape that we have today. And the first time that he made it, the tape ended up falling off on the guy that was trying to use it. And so he was saying, go and get your Scotch boss and tell him to put some more adhesive on this tape. But back then, Scotch meant more along the lines of someone who wasn't willing to invest the money in getting something a little bit better or higher quality.
A little bit of a cheapskate, if you will.
Yeah, so when he says Scotch boss, it kind of stuck with Mr. Drew, and he was like, I kind of like it at the same time. So he did up the adhesive on it, made a fantastic thing. That's why he actually created the masking tape and cellophane tape.
Oh.
So that's why you have Scotch making both of those. Also interesting, whenever the Great Depression hit, Scotch tape was actually one of the few companies that actually had a rise. That was one of their most flourishing times, because instead of people going out and just buying, then they kind of got into the habit of, okay, well, I just need to fix what I have. And so they would buy Scotch tape, so I'll just pull off some tape, seal it off and make it work.
Very nice.
So, Great Depression means good times for Scotch.
Hey, it still makes good repairs today.
Very interesting. Didn't know that much about cellophane tape, but it was interesting to kind of dive into it. Scotch was actually made by the creator of cellophane tape.
Yeah.
So it makes me believe in it all that much more.
Instead of something like Kleenex, where you're like, hey, pass me a Kleenex, but Kleenex is a brand. You really need to pass a tissue.
A facial tissue.
Yes. Moving forward, we've come to...
Today in History. Back in 1937, the Golden Gate Bridge opened.
Woo!
So many travels. So many travels can be had. A couple interesting facts real quick. In 1930, the Golden Gate Bridge had 2,300 lawsuits against it. And that was before it was completely constructed. One of the lawsuits was from Southern Pacific Railroad. And they own 51% of the ferry company that would take the cars from one side to the other. They were like, hey, you're kind of cutting in our action budget. You can't just let people cross the river. What are you doing?
You know how much land we got from the government for free, mind you?
Exactly.
To build our railroad. I'm gonna draw a line. Don't you cross it, sir. But cross it he did.
I mean, he was just one. There were 2,300 lawsuits against him. And that's just, it's kind of ridiculous. So whenever you do see the Golden Gate Bridge, just know that sometimes true justice can prevail.
In spite of adversity.
I would love to go back in time and just kind of see the look on his face when he was like, sorry, kid, we're not going to let you have this one. It's like, but I've been given everything my whole life.
Oh, please. You know what else today is? You've mentioned skydiving, bungee jumping, and traveling across the world to all the major jazz festivals. That means it is
Kind of nervous about this.
Nothing to Fear Day.
Oh.
Except fear itself. She's a nasty lady.
She's evil woman. Such an evil woman.
Mm-hmm.
Take all your money.
This day, Nothing to Fear Day, it gives us the opportunity to evaluate ourselves and to see where the fears are keeping us from becoming all that we can be.
It's pretty cool. I feel like, and this is a little bit more personal, but I feel like since getting married, I feel like there's certain things that Maria brings out of me where it's like, hey, you gotta jump over those fears and you kind of have to just meet them face to face and, bust through it. And I'm a better person because of it.
And stare him in the eye sometimes. Stare him in the eye, I say, and just smack him out of the way.
Yeah, so she pushes me to do a lot of things. And some of those things involve sitting here and talking to you guys and, starting up this whole YouTube channel and trying to share these holidays with everybody. It's nice. I feel like there are fears that I have overcome, and I know that there are more fears that I can overcome. But getting over my previous fears lets me know that my future fears are going to be that much easier to overcome. That's what today's supposed to be. If you have anything that you have already gotten over, if you were afraid of something and you're not afraid of it anymore, use that momentum and use that fuel to kind of push you over the hill to go ahead and smash out your next fear.
Get start with something small. Go ahead. On this day, make a move. See what happens. Worst comes to worst, nothing happens and you're still right where you were. But you will never lose that feeling of overcoming your fear in that moment. And it's that moment that you can build upon. That's what Nothing to Fear Day is all about, I'd say.
It's about embracing the best you. And so today of all days.
Today of all days.
Be the best you and kick fear in the butt and take today for what it is. And that is your day to do whatever you want to do and to know that you can accomplish it. So, without further ado, you guys have an awesome day and we'll talk to you on Memorial Day.
Catch you cool cats later.